Tonight on Cronkite News, we speak with experts about fire prevention and what you can do to stay safe.
Plus, the Phoenix Mercury not only hosted the Aces, but also kids from across the valley.
And find out what the best high school basketball programs are doing to compete. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Josh Amick.
And I'm Andrew Lind. Thank you for joining us.
With temperatures rising in Arizona, local officials want to spread awareness about the impact of wildfires.
Bree Pacelli spoke with fire experts about wildfire prevention and what we can do to stay safe.
Today is officially the start of summer, and crews are already back at work, both fighting wildfires and managing prescribed burns. Here is a map of the current wildfires burning here in Arizona. There are 9 right now, but 2 of them are prescribed burns, meaning they are intentionally set to prevent larger fires from spreading. Right now, the largest fire is the Wilbur Fire, which is burning at just over 9,000 acres, but is 41% contained. Officials are predicting this could be a tough few months for wildfires. Arizona's winter and spring rainfall caused new growth of vegetation. However, as we enter the drier months, the vegetation is drying out and becoming fuel for wildfires. But not all of these fires are burning in the forest where you would expect them to be.
We get wildfires down in the deserts quite frequently, and that's where we're seeing a lot of our issues right now, is in the central part of Arizona with some of the desert fires. We do have some ongoing fires that are being managed for multiple objectives up on the northern part of Arizona within the Kaibab and the Coconino National Forests.
Even though Arizona experienced one of the wettest winters and springs, experts say they are still expecting to have a more intense fire season.
Now that's always going to hinge on what our monsoon brings us. Obviously, as we come in, we get closer to that season, whether it's going to be a more dry monsoon season, or whether it'll be just as wet as it's been previously. So if we can get to a more wet monsoon season, that may save us in some respects from a very intense fire season.
Experts say there are ways you can be prepared both in the high country and down here in the desert.
Want people to be aware of their surroundings, look around their home, and evaluate the flammability factor. If it's flammable, if it can be ignited by fire, it's a fuel for a potential wildfire.
Firefighters stress the importance of creating a defensible space by clearing at least 30 feet of dead trees, bushes, or weeds to keep your home safe. Remember to properly dispose of smoking materials and avoid any activity involving flames on days with low humidity and high winds. In the newsroom, Bree Pacelli, Cronkite News.
Thanks, Bree. The other thing we should be prepared for, the heat.
And as Bree just told us, today is the first day of what's usually a long summer here in the Valley. Alyssa Polzinski joins us now with what we can expect.
Happy first official day of summer, everyone. We have finally reached that time of the year where the temperatures are high and continue to stay high all day and night. As you can see, on this day, June 21st, our average temperature is 93 degrees. However, our high is 106 and our low 80. But that's not nearly as high as these triple-digit temperatures we've seen in the past. Our first 110-day on average has been June 11th, but our projected first 110-day isn't until June 26th. But we'll get into that later when I have the full forecast.
New numbers show that border crossings along the U.S.-Mexico border are down since the expiration of Title 42.
The most recent data shows that in May there were 204,561 encounters with U.S. Custom and Border Protection, compared to the month before when there were 211,159 encounters, which means the numbers are down about 3% for the month of May. Title 42 went into effect during the pandemic and allowed officials to turn away migrants to prevent the spread of COVID. But there was no legal consequence for crossing under Title 42, so many migrants tried again. It expired on May 11th. The associate director from the Cato Institute, a public policy research group, says the drop is abnormal.
May is typically a pretty high migration month. Traditionally, April, May are, the top 2 months historically. This decline is not related to seasonal trends. This is something that's a consequence of a policy change.
The Free Britney Spears campaign helped bring light to problems surrounding guardianships, and now Arizona is working to pass legislation that will lead to guardianship reform.
Cronkite News reporter John Kuzy tells us what this new law would mean for Arizona families.
Recently at Arizona State University, legislators held a town hall discussing the bill SB 1291, which will add protections to individuals placed in guardianship. Some of the reforms include ensuring individuals aren't isolated, given the right to a jury trial, and informed of details about their case.
A good crowd turned out in the morning to hear from Arizona representatives and individuals who are fighting for guardianship reform.
As we consider guardianship reform today, it's important to first consider where we've come from. America has a shameful history when it comes to dealing with folks with disabilities. The saying, out of sight, out of mind, was the traditional norm through most of the 19th century.
The new law is pushing to help give those with disabilities more independence to make decisions on their own.
Freedom to make decisions for ourselves is fundamental to our conception of ourselves. Individuals placed under guardianship far too often do not have the freedom to make those choices.
The legislation has helped bring people together as they look to reach a common goal.
We sit here today in this incredible institution of journalism and learning, and we look at a panelist that is comprised of both Republicans and Democrats, forging together with a unified vision to help and to increase the independence of people with disabilities.
Not all in attendance agree with the new bill as written, saying there are holes in the legislation that will hurt people with severe disabilities.
It applies a more stringent level of criteria to the entire process for appointing a guardian and is making the already expensive and difficult process of obtaining guardianship even more difficult for these desperate families.
The bill has bipartisan support, but Senator John Kavanaugh acknowledges there could be modifications.
There'll be change, we'll see problems, we try to fix the problems, there may be new things brought up, things discarded. So like everything else, is an ongoing process.
The bill received bipartisan support as it passed the House 57-0 and the Senate 28-0. Governor Hobbs signed the bill yesterday. In the newsroom, John Kuzy, Cronkite News.
It was camp day at Footprint Center today. The Mercury hosted elementary and middle school kids from across the valley to watch an early afternoon game against the Las Vegas Aces. The Mercury are still without Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi, who are both out with injuries. Phoenix trailed by 17 at half and were never able to really regain the feet underneath them, losing 99-79. Despite the loss, Shug Sutton led the Mercury with 21 points. 3 other players tallied double figures. The Mercury's next game will be on Saturday against the Seattle Storm.
Aspiring WNBA players were on display last week at the State Farm Stadium for Section 7 girls basketball tournament.
Desert Vista High School is one of the featured teams. The state champions are led by their star point guard. And as Alexis Davis tells us, the senior already has over 3 dozen college offers.
Desert Vista star guard Shea Ijiwoje showing up as her authentic self has been enough so far. However, her first name was created over 30,000 feet in the sky.
My first name is actually Renwick, and it's like a put together name, like Wren, like a Irish songbird, and then Wick is from like this like old actress, like back when the shows were black and white, Barbara Stanwyck. My dad put it together on the plane, that's how he got Renwick.
But the two-way guard prefers to go by her middle name, Shea.
I would say I more embody my middle name. It means God did this, and like, I'm a follower of Christ, so I know that like I'm here for a reason.
The star security in herself has landed her at number 41 on ESPN's newest list of class of 2024 rankings. The promising guard shoots 87% from the free throw line, shoots 72% from the field, and averages 16 points from game. Her determination to be elite on the court starts in the classroom.
I'd be surprised if she sits in the front of the classroom and is answering all the questions and asking all the questions. She's very inquisitive. She wants to know everything. She wants to learn. I think it's just in her, no matter what she's doing, to do it at her fullest all the time.
Ijiwoje's talents in both settings has earned her over 40 collegiate offers, including Harvard, Stanford, North Carolina, Arizona State, and Princeton. Ijiwoje's father isn't afraid of her next steps.
Well, you know what? Your work ethic that you show for school and for basketball is going to gravitate those people towards you. She became a leader in 7th grade, leading high school girls.
Ending last season as a state champion, Ijiwoje has high hopes for her senior year.
We want to win on a more national scale. I want to continue to get better as an individual, and then really just make sure it's an enjoyable year for not only me but my teammates.
In Glendale, Alexis Davis, Cronkite News.
Coming up next, the Supreme Court upheld the Indian Child Welfare Act.
We catch up with the people who are most impacted by the decision.
And the valley is heating up as we hit triple digits each and every day this week. Stay tuned for your weekly weather forecast.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
General Manager of Arizona PBS. We've got so much going on here at the station.
I'm Catherine Anaya.
I'm Alberto Rios.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell.
I'm Ted Simons.
We want everyone to know that their Arizona connection starts right here at Arizona PBS.
For over the past 60 years, Arizona PBS has told incredible stories of Arizona's distinctive people.
We got to start being more vulnerable with each other.
What I love most about being a Latina woman is the passion and drive that I feel.
Beautiful landscapes and treasured history.
We're doing something that benefits the community.
Good evening and welcome to Horizonte.
Welcome to Check Please, Arizona.
Welcome to the U.S. Senate debate.
The recipient of the Emmy is
Arizona PBS.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
It's been called the gold standard of child welfare laws, but the Indian Child Welfare Act was in danger of being overturned until the U.S. Supreme Court upheld it last week. Cronkite News reporter Isabel Garcia brings us the reaction from our Washington bureau.
It was a day of celebration here outside of the National Museum of the American Indian for supporters of the Indian Child Welfare Act, which was just upheld by the Supreme Court of the United States. Members and supporters of the Native community in D.C. came together to celebrate the long-awaited Supreme Court decision upholding the Indian Child Welfare Act, also known as ICWA. Supporters say the law protects indigenous cultures by preserving indigenous families.
Our children are our future. Our families, that is a sacred institution in our culture and tradition.
The act, established in 1978, gives indigenous families priority when it comes to adopting indigenous children or placing them in foster care. The law was challenged by 3 white families who claimed that ICWA unlawfully uses race against non-Native families looking to adopt or foster. The state of Texas also joined the suit. It said the law intrudes on its right to run the state's child welfare system as it sees fit. Ian Gershengorn is one of the attorneys who argued before the Supreme Court last fall, urging the justices to preserve ICWA. He said he took on the case because he knew how important it was to Indian country and the lives of many. When the Supreme Court released its opinion, he said he couldn't help but feel the opinion
just elated. I mean, days like this are just incredible. To have a statute of this importance affirmed 7-2, it's mind-boggling.
Advocates are calling the Supreme Court ruling a win for tribal sovereignty. The Supreme Court ruling was 7-2. Dissenting judges Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito disagreed, saying the act intrudes on what should be a state right. In Washington, Isabel Garcia, Cronkite News.
According to the Arizona Department of Child Safety, there are currently more than 10,000 children in the state's foster care system, and 1,061 of them are indigenous children.
The U.S. Navy is sending special equipment to the North Atlantic Ocean that can lift the missing submarine out of the water if it's found.
The tourist sub with 5 people on board was last seen on Sunday, and it has just a few hours of oxygen left.
The Navy says the equipment it's sending can lift large undersea objects like an airplane or small vessel. We've learned that the underwater sounds were recently detected, giving hope that the folks on board may still be alive, though it's not exactly clear what the sounds were or where they are coming from. So far, the U.S. Coast Guard has searched an area the size of Connecticut, and they're not giving up yet.
Oh, this is a search and rescue mission, 100%. We are smack dab in the middle of search and rescue, and we'll continue to put every available asset that we have in an effort to find the Titan and the crew members.
The water level at Lake Mead, a popular summer destination for Arizonans, is actually rising.
In fact, the water level is about 10 feet higher than it was this time last year.
And we can thank all the snow from this past winter and spring. It's slowly melting off now, leading to the rising level. The good news continues over at Lake Powell, another popular spot for zonies. Powell's water level is up about 40 feet from this time last year.
A trip up north sounds good right about now because, as Alyssa Polzinski explains, it's about to get really hot here in the valley.
Taking a look at our evening planner, we have low 100-degree temperatures in the evening, slowly declining into the low 90s by 10 p.m. You're going to want to make sure you have the air conditioning cranked and your fans set high. Taking a look at our future forecast, we do see a little bit of cloud coverage throughout the state, most prominently up in the north, but that will clear by 12 noon on Thursday and will be clear the rest of Friday and Saturday. Taking a look at our high temperatures, it's going to be a bit toasty no matter where you are in the state of Arizona. 105 in Phoenix, 101 in Bullhead City, but take a look up north. 83 in the Grand Canyon, 78 in Flagstaff. Seems like we can't beat the heat anywhere. Looking at our 8-day forecast, it's going to be low 100 degrees with the sun shining bright, as said for the rest of the weekend and next week. You can see next week we do get into those high triple-digit temperatures, where Monday being that 111-degree day that we were talking about earlier. But with these high temperatures, means we want to make sure we're staying nice and hydrated and reapply that sunblock to beat these UV rays. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Alyssa Polzinski.
Coming up next, the Major League Baseball Draft Combine has come to Phoenix.
We will get you a closer look at what Arizona players are taking their shot.
General Manager of Arizona PBS. We've got so much going on here at the station.
I'm Catherine Anaya.
I'm Alberto Rios.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell.
I'm Ted Simons.
We want everyone to know that their Arizona connection starts right here at Arizona PBS.
For over the past 60 years, Arizona PBS has told incredible stories of Arizona's distinctive people.
We got to start being more vulnerable with each other.
What I love most about being a Latina woman is the passion and drive that I feel.
Beautiful landscapes and treasured history.
We're doing something that benefits the community.
Good evening and welcome to Horizonte.
Welcome to Check Please, Arizona.
Welcome to the U.S. Senate debate.
The recipient of the Emmy is
Arizona PBS.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
ASU track and field standout Turner Washington wrapped up his collegiate career this year and now has his sights set on the 2024 Olympics.
He's currently ranked 18th in the world in discus and is coming off his 5th national title in track and field, in which he won the discus in dramatic fashion.
Washington has now become one of the most decorated athletes in Sun Devil track and field history, ranking third all-time with 5 national titles. He credits discipline and effort for his success. However, the titles racked up in college aren't the only thing he will remember fondly from his time at Arizona State.
Honestly, it's the relationships I built here. So like being able to win the national championship, and my girlfriend's there, and then my best friend, my training partner's there. Throwing was great, and this throwing's been amazing, but it's the relationships that I'm really going to cherish.
It's the second day of the MLB Draft Combine, and a couple of Arizonans are ready to take a swing at the big leagues. It's only the third MLB Combine and the first held in Phoenix. 274 prospects from around the country are participating. There are 12 Arizona high school players and several from area colleges, 3 from ASU, 2 from U of A, and 1 from GCU. The GCU player Jacob Wilson is a projected first-round pick. The Combine began yesterday and will end on June 25th.
The U.S. men's national team is set to play in the CONCACAF Gold Cup opener against Jamaica on Saturday. USA plays at Soldier Field in Chicago, but 4 teams will play at State Farm Stadium in Glendale next week. Enrique Rupert is at the Google touchscreen to give us a preview of the exciting matchups and implications for Arizona.
The CONCACAF Gold Cup is like the World Cup for North America and Central America teams and the Caribbean. One newcomer is St. Kitts and Nevis, who qualified for the first time in their history. There will be 4 groups of 4, with Group A seeing the likes of the United States, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, and St. Kitts and Nevis, while Group P, who will play in Arizona next week, includes the likes of Honduras, Haiti, Mexico, and Qatar, who were specially invited to the tournament. Group C has 3 Central American teams who are very familiar with each other and Martinique, while Canada headlines Group D. Taking a closer look at Group B, who will play at State Farm Arena in Glendale on June 29th, Honduras will play Qatar, while Haiti plays Mexico. Both games will be played back-to-back, with the first starting at 4:45 p.m., while the other starts at 7 p.m. So which teams will qualify for the quarterfinal round? United States, who are the favorites to win the tournament, are most likely to qualify, with Trinidad and Tobago also looking to upset Jamaica. They've been undefeated against Jamaica in their last 2 matchups, with Jamaica also losing 2 friendlies against Qatar and Jordan recently. Qatar may be the underdogs to win the whole tournament, as they've had experience being in the World Cup and also placing 3rd in the last Gold Cup. These are the other teams who are also likely to qualify for the quarterfinal rounds. In the 16 editions of the CONCACAF Gold Cup, there have only been 3 winners, all coming from the North American Football Union. Canada has 1 title, the United States has 7 titles, and Mexico has 8. But with the United States coming off a CONCACAF Nations League win a week ago, they'll be looking to tie Mexico in the number of Gold Cups won. In the newsroom, I'm Enrique Rupert for Crown Kite News.
Thanks, Enrique. Coming up next, a grandmother revisits her youth by serving as a lifeguard for the town swimming pool.
Find out why this grandma decided to jump back in the pool next.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage.
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
General Manager of Arizona PBS. We've got so much going on here at the station.
I'm Catherine Anaya.
I'm Alberto Rios.
I'm Chef Mark Tarbell.
I'm Ted Simons.
We want everyone to know that their Arizona connection starts right here at Arizona PBS.
For over the past 60 years, Arizona PBS has told incredible stories of Arizona's distinctive people.
We got to start being more vulnerable with each other.
What I love most about being a Latina woman is the passion and drive that I feel.
Beautiful landscapes and treasured history.
We're doing something that benefits the community.
Good evening and welcome to Horizonte.
Welcome to Check Please, Arizona.
Welcome to the U.S. Senate debate.
The recipient of the Emmy is
Arizona PBS.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication's Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Thanks to a grandma who took the initiative and stepped up to help a local lifeguard shortage,
many children and families in Cincinnati, Ohio will be spending more time in a community pool this summer.
In order for a pool to be open, it has to be staffed with lifeguards. This is where 66-year-old Gail Rogers comes in to save the summer. Rogers learned there was an immediate need to hire more lifeguards, otherwise the Montgomery Town Community Pool would be forced to close. She said she was a lifeguard as a kid and figured she could do it again. Why not, Grandma Rogers? Now she fills in when she is needed and other lifeguards need the time off. And she plans to continue the work even more when the younger lifeguards return to school. Shout out to you, Grandma Rogers.
That's it for Cronkite News. Thanks for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.